This is Robert Clotworthy, the narrator of The Curse of Oak Island, and I have a question for you. Could it be that you are listening to The Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream?
This is a top pocket find, mate, for sure.
Hey, how you doing? Glad you guys are here with us tonight. Hi, I'm your host, Jeff Freeman, and welcome to The Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream. And this is my co-host right over here, Jack Campbell. How you doing, Jack?
I'm doing good, Jeff. Doing real good tonight.
Oh man, I tell you what, the show last night was filled with so much information. I was really hard pressed to keep up with everything as they were going along. I was writing notes like crazy and trying to keep up with things. And speaking of notes, Jan, thank you so much for your synopsis. You did a wonderful job this week.
That new format you did was wonderful.
Yeah, and change the format up. That's really cool. That's really appreciate you, Jan, for doing that. And welcome as being our addition to the team as a moderator, working with Linda Simpson out there as she's worked so hard to keep everything going, and she just needed some help. Oh, the workload is getting really heavy with taking care of everything for the group, but we certainly appreciate that, Jan. Thank you very much, and thank you, Linda, for all your hard work that you do. And as always, folks, I just wanted to say a quick thing about the YouTube side. If you're out watching on the YouTube side, or if any of our guests from YouTube or Twitch or anything go out to the YouTube side, we really appreciate it if you'd subscribe for us on there. And if you like our content, give us a thumbs up. Let us know how we're doing. We really appreciate that very much. It does help us out quite a bit, and we certainly appreciate that. I'm going to throw the phone number up here for the group. I'll take calls anytime tonight. Yeah, I'll make sure I turn the phone on. Do I turn it on? I think it's on. Yes, it's on. All right, good. And we got battery. All right, so we're good on that. But so the show last night, my goodness, what a lot of information they covered. And it was interesting because James McQuiston was on, and I thought, man, he didn't say anything about this the other night.
I don't think you knew, Jeff, because from what I understand, he just looked up and there he was, and his whole family just sat there and watched it in amazement.
Yeah. So, and he didn't. And, that was just kind of funny because, and I got to say, folks, if you haven't seen we did our show with James on Sunday at 4:00 because of, conflict of different things happening and stuff. But anyway, that was really an informative couple of hours. Actually, we went long a little bit. And then I went in on the YouTube one. I went in and I actually took out about 7 minutes of when we lost his connection. And then we were talking and he popped back in and stuff. Well, I took about 7 minutes of it out and I edited it as best I could with the editor there on YouTube. And so I tried to get that fixed to take some of that out of there. But on the Facebook side, that big long waiting period there is still there. So anyway, so I apologize for that. But we just had that issue, and then he came back on his phone and everything went really well from there on. And that was, man, the man has done so much research. It's just phenomenal.
The number of books that he's written about it and everything else.
Yeah, six books about everything, and then a novel as well. So 6 research books and then a novel. And I got to tell you, folks, if you haven't bought any of those or purchased any of those, you really should. Anyway, so hey, I wanted to reach out and say hi. Pam's here with us tonight, and Jan, of course. Thanks you for being there. Anne Marie
is here.
Yep, Don Brent. Kathy Shoemaker's here with us. Judy Rudebush. Thank you, Judy, for coming by. And Christopher. Wow, we got quite the crowd already popping in here tonight. Yeah, let's see. Marilyn's here. Sharon's here. Yeah, gosh, I'm glad you guys are all here with us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. And like I said, Wanda's here too. The phone line is up if anybody wants to give us a call anytime during the show tonight. And like I said, they covered so much information that it was just, it was a really good night as far as that was concerned. I thought so anyway. And before we dig into it, I wanted to also say, for our shows coming up here next week, I am going to be going on. I mentioned this before, but I'm going out of town Saturday, so there won't be an interview show this Saturday. I am going out of town. I'll be gone for a few days, and then on I'm coming back it looks like right now I'll be coming back on Wednesday. And when that happens, then of course I'll have to catch up with Oak Island on Wednesday night. It'll be on the Tuesday night. I'll have to watch it on the app and then get everything together. So we're going to do the recap show like we're doing tonight. We're going to do it on Thursday night. So next week it'll be on Thursday night, and that is the April Fool's Day. So it'll be on April Fool's Day, April 1st. We're going to be doing the recap show at 7:30 on April 1st. So keep that in mind. So no interview this weekend. Then April 1st will be on Thursday at 7:30. And then after that, we've got Maddie Blake. Maddie Blake coming on. And if you would, guys, give us your questions. And we've got a bunch already. And if you have questions for Maddie, whether it be for drilling down or any of the stuff he does, be sure to give us those questions. Linda put up a post out there for you to put your questions on. Make sure you get those on there so that we can ask him. And I'll do my very best, as always. I'll do my best to get them asked for you on the show.
Because it's very hard for us to try to look at the screen and ask questions and keep you. Yeah. It doesn't work real well.
No, it doesn't. And that's Saturday, April 3rd at 2:00. That we'll have that with Maddie. And like Jack just said, it's really too hard when I'm, interviewing and having the guest on. And it's so hard to try to keep up with with all the chat going by. And there's just so much of it. Don't mind you guys chatting and carrying on. That's fine. Continue to do so. But I just can't catch all those questions and comments. And that's why we ask you to put them in advance. So let's see. There's Tom Burns.
Yeah, I see Tom. As long as, Jeff, that's okay. As long as you realize we're not paying you to be here Saturdays. So.
All right, I understand. So, all right, yeah, it's a day off. All right, I'm with you on that. All right. Oh, goodness. Yeah, that's great. But hey, we're finally having some nice weather. It was actually about 75 here today in Western Pennsylvania. So I got the window open. Hopefully we don't get too much car noise, or there was somebody out there blowing a horn a little bit ago, but hopefully that won't interrupt us too much here tonight. So let's get with it, eh? So episode 19, A Loose Cannonball. A Loose Cannonball. And that was I was just reading some of the chat. Yeah, we docked his pay for Saturday. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. So punish him. Been raining all day. Janet says been raining. Now we had a little rain this morning and last night, but the rest of the day was pretty nice. So
we had beautiful weather, but it was really windy today.
Yeah. Oh, really? Yep.
Oh.
So starting off in the swamp. We always seem to start off in the swamp, don't we? Starting off in the swamp. In the swamp, I got to say it was very interesting watching where this road goes, where they're heading with the road. But you wanted to rather than throw it all together into one big, dragging it out over several episodes. I was kind of hoping they put it all into one big lump, but so I it's finally getting. I was going to say I'm getting a little ho hum about the stone road. It is important. I know it's important, but I was getting a little ho hum with it. Really, now we're finally starting to get down to the meat and potatoes of the stone road. I know the one end of it, possibly the wharf that they would have used to come in and bring boats in from, the smaller boats in for off the ocean, and bring them up to a wharf that would have been there, we assume. And then, the stone road there for unloading onto carts or whatever, and then heading them down towards along the eastern line of the swamp. And then now they've gotten to a point where it is splitting off. And I'll go ahead and let's bring up the first of the many pictures. I've got a lot tonight. I hope you guys don't get too bored with all my pictures. But we've got quite a few. You do a great job with the chat, and I will come up some questions, Jeff. Oh, okay. Thanks. That's Marilyn saying she'll come up with some Jeffs, even though I'm kind of spontaneous. Pouring rain here too. The swamp is where it's at, Janet says. Yeah, the swamp is kind of where it's at. That's for sure. I'm going to bring up this first picture I've got here. I'm going to take this down just for a minute. I'll bring the phone number back up, a little bit here. But it was kind of interesting because, I tried to change the size and the color of my mouse pointer, but boy, it doesn't look good at all right there. I changed it to a yellow, but now you can't see it at all. You can see it moving there, but anyway, it's huge on my screen over there. The thing is like an inch long, and yet over here, and for whatever reason on here, it looks really small. But anyway, the emphasis is right in this area here. This is where they're working, and this is where it's starting to split off. Okay. So yeah, and Linda says she needs those pictures, and I kind of do too. Okay, why is this not working? Okay, it's not letting me switch between pictures here. I don't know why. All right, I'm gonna pull this down for a second. I'm gonna take a look at what's going on here. But the road, the stone path, or the stone road, as I'm gonna go. We were talking,
we were talking about this. Sometimes they call it a path, sometimes they call it a road. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Is it a path or a road? I'm going to call it the stone road. From now on, it's the stone road.
Right? To be a road.
Exactly. Let's see.
And I think they're baffled. They are really baffled by this road.
I know they are. And, like I said, now it's turning, and I can't, for whatever reason, this is not allowing me to scroll through my pictures for some reason. Why is it doing that? It is not allowing me to scroll through the pictures. The little arrow is not coming up to move through them. Why is that happening? Okay, I guess I'm going to have to bring them up one at a time. I apologize. But anyway, we had, out there at the Stone Road, they have Rick came out, and Jack Begley's there with him, and they came out to see Dr. Aaron Taylor and Miriam to kind of get an assessment of just what's going on there and which way the road is headed, and get a look at that. And there it is. Now it's showing it. Okay. So they come out there, and then they take a look. Now here, I kind of did a zoom in here a little bit. Path road, stone feature, anomaly, to name a few. That was Tom. Let's see. The road to riches. Yeah, it could be.
Deidre's here. I hope you're feeling better, Deidre.
Yeah. I heard Deidre wasn't feeling too well. Yeah, we definitely hope you're feeling better. Anyway, so there's a little closer picture taken of the now this is kind of showing where the road is headed. Now this part here is heading off. Of course, they're saying, maybe shooting across lot 15 and heading in the general direction of the money pit, I guess. That's what they're hoping anyway. And then this portion over here is heading off towards the eye of the swamp, is what we're assuming on that as well. And here's this, I like this one here. This was this artist rendition of the stone road. And you can see here, this is where they're showing it splitting off and heading uphill up into the uplands and heading off towards crossing lot 15 and heading towards the money pit direction. And then, of course, this section here that's heading off toward the eye of this swamp. So that was kind of neat. I like when they do these little pictures because sometimes it's hard to get a good representation when you're looking at the drone footage or whatever, or when they're standing in the hole and they're going, yeah, I think it's going off that way. And you're like, okay, which way is that way? Because we can't tell because you're standing in a hole. So we don't have any landmarks to go by. Where's the red pointer? All right, I'm going to try to make it red. Hang on just a minute. Let me see if I can change the color of it. All right, let's see. And I'm going to try to make it bigger, but it's just not.
Well, yeah, you had it the other day.
I did, but yeah, it's just not. Well, that was kind of a picture. Okay, so now it's pink, and now it's huge. It's literally like well over an inch in size on my screen anyway. So let's see. All right, can I save that? Okay, that goes away. And now here we go over to the screen. Now see, now it's red, but it's still not big. Like, I don't know. I don't understand why it's doing that. Oh, Deidre says, not really, but we are both pretty well medicated. What we're doing. Oh, we certainly hope you guys get feeling better.
Yeah.
Yeah, Judy Rudabush says it surprises me how far down they're excavating. So many years of soil. Isn't that the truth? Um, yeah, they really are. And then she talked about that because Miriam was actually showing it. There was a picture of her. She was digging down, and then she got down to this like really dark layer. And she said she was referring to that being like more undisturbed portions of it. Everything else above that had been disturbed with rocks and other stuff piled on top of it. But then she kind of got down to a layer that she thought was really more, the older layer of undisturbed soil down there at the bottom,
Yeah,
which means that.
because Dr. Swinner said there were some parts there that looked like they could move to make it to make the road change direction real fast. They were all decided that they could move them.
Mhm. Yep. So I like that. Like I said, I like those little artist pictures that they come up with to kind of give us a better idea of just what's going on. And it was kind of neat because um, Dr. Taylor said something about the fact that it was, he said, I think this section here is heading off toward the eye. And they were like, well, where's the eye? And he was pointing, he goes, it's right over there. And literally it was right on site. It looks like they kind of hopped over a section of we'll get to that in just a second, but like they hopped over a section of, I think where they found this wall anomaly, no, anomaly that they found, that they kind of hopped over it, and then he started digging on the other side, and he found that the road actually continues. And that's where, this was another one of those artist pictures that I really liked, and I grabbed a picture of it. And this one here shows, this is the eye up here in this bullseye they got pictured. And then, of course, this is the other road heading off into the uplands. So, and then, of course, this section down here heading back towards what they think might have been a wharf area down by the beach. So here's where they've basically followed it. And it is starting to really make good sense that they needed to dig this up. Because I was thinking, maybe it's the British were using it, but like, they were kind of talking about that maybe it had been used by multiple groups, finding it, working it, adding to it, restructuring some of it, reconstructing some of it over the years. That's quite possible. And that's why they were talking about the different dates of some of the wood. But again, we don't know that for certain yet. But anyway, so that I like that picture there because that one kind of gave us a better look at things.
And that's where all the blue clay came from also.
Mhm.
Was in the eye of the swamp.
Yes, Judy just said something too. Yeah, I was going to actually get to that. Judy Rudabush said, Did anyone catch how close they were to Anthony Graves' home site? And yeah, they did actually talk about that. And I was going to get to that in just a moment because they don't know. They didn't say anything. I don't think. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they said anything about where his actual home site was.
Not that I remember.
Not
Jeff.
on this show, anyway. I know that
No.
there was. Go ahead.
It was like they found like a root cellar or something like that, what they were looking at.
Mm-hmm.
But the homes seemed to be more up toward the upland like that and everything.
Right. And I know there was an episode that came out. It was a couple of episodes ago where they were talking about his Rick had mentioned it. He said something about Anthony Graves' homestead and he pointed over that way. So I think they do know where it was, but I don't think they talked about it last night on the show. I don't think they actually said anything about exactly where it was. Oh yeah, and Deidre said they're also very close to the ship-shaped anomaly as well. That's true; they are. As they get over closer towards the eye and the old portion of the stone platform that they found last year. Um, and then of course, and then we got a picture of Aaron there with a big smile on his face because this is where he has found what looks like the foundation wall of a cellar or a building of some sort. And he was digging that out, and it does look like it's some sort of a wall. Yeah, or maybe like an outbuilding or something like that. Yep. Crushing rocks boulder. Christian cross boulder. I don't know. There was a question about, oh, Judy, I wonder how close this is to any of the Christian cross boulders. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. They really haven't talked about that too much either. Um, yeah, and the eye tells it all, Pam. I know. I think there's more to the eye too. Linda was saying Anthony Graves bought a large portion of the island. Yeah, from people like the Smiths. Yes, he did. But anyway, that's very interesting. This whole wall section right here that Dr. Taylor discovered right here, working and cleaning that up now. So that's going to be an interesting story in itself here in the future to see exactly what that is. And here's just a close-up picture of the rocks. Now, it's so much different than the rocks that were used on the stone road, or at least it seems so. You do have the smaller ones down here and then larger ones up here, but it's definitely looks like some sort of a wall, and thicker in rock layer than like the platform that they found before. The platform did have different layers of rocks, but this looks like it's actually thicker than that was. Yeah, Tom Burns said, I thought it was a retaining wall when I first saw it. And I did too. I did too. I kind of thought it was like some sort of a wall or a property line wall or something like that somebody had created. So far,
it got too big.
Yeah, so far into the dirt, though, I thought, man, I don't know, because you see how much dirt's on top. It stops like right in here, right in this area, and then all this dirt on top of it. And you're like, man, they sure piled a lot of dirt on top of it if it was a retaining wall or something. Let's see. Jan says, I think they mentioned Geordie's Cove for Graves' homes. Is that the case? That you might be right. I don't know. That's one thing that I've missed, exactly where they were talking about where the Graves' home site, the actual where the house was, where it was.
I don't remember them saying it, Jeff. I'll be real honest. I mean,
I don't know that they ever have.
He kind of pointed his head toward that direction, but then he never really.
Yeah. I don't know. We got if any of you guys, if any of you know, and again, this is where I throw that research out to you guys. If any of you know or want to look that up, that'd be great. If you could help us with that to kind of get an idea of exactly where the house of Anthony Graves was. And as Linda had mentioned in there, Anthony Graves got the property. Some of that property used to be Smith's property that he bought after Smith had passed away. Let's see. Oh, Deidre says that with being sick, I've had time to work on my big Oak Island map while looking it over. It surprises me that the paved stone area from last year and the ship anomaly are close together. I didn't realize they almost overlap the ends. Yeah, you're right. Yep. You can check your maps, Jeff. Yeah, home site was very near Fred's build. Oh, where Fred built. Okay. All right. That I wasn't sure about. So, and then, like I said, here's another picture that I took of the rocks all stacked up, which was kind of neat in itself. And then there's one more here showing, because there's definitely, I mean, it's not just, and Rick had mentioned something about that, about having different places on the island where there's a conglomeration of rocks. And certainly this is one of those, but this is definitely, man-made. It's very clear that it's man-made and not just a pile of rocks that were happen to be in the area. So it'd be interesting to see what they find here.
It'd be interesting because it seemed to be the way he was talking, it was further away. It was far away from the house. Because he asked, why would you wouldn't put treasure in your house, but you might take it all the way down there.
Right.
Put it down there.
Right. Yeah. You're not going to hide it in your bedroom or in the kitchen, in a cupboard. You're going to hide it somewhere, like he was saying. He said something about under a floorboard in the barn or something like that. People are over the years have found things like of that nature. So yeah, that's you're definitely going to find a good hiding space, because there weren't really banks and stuff back in that day. So you had to hide anything that you had a value money wise. You had to hide it someplace, and hopefully nobody would be able to find it. And then, of course, when people pass away, there's a very good possibility that some of that still remains where they were. And that's why Rick made that comment. Well, we'll get to that in a minute.
Wasn't Graves also the one, Jeff, that went to the island, that went to the mainland and paid in silver for a lot of things too.
Silver and gold. Yes, he was. They said that he did. In fact, he was found, or he was known to, and I wrote that down. He was known to buy stuff on the mainland with silver and gold coins. So they were kind of thinking, like along with Samuel Ball, that he found something and he was able to use those coins to actually buy goods on the mainland, which, where's somebody going to be able to find that? Hi, Harla, how you doing? So, where's he going to be able to come up with those gold and silver coins? It's good, very good point. So here's where they brought Ian Spooner out there with Rick, and they're having a look around because he wanted to get a look at the cellar or the wall feature that he found there. So that's really interesting. And go over to now he was talking about going over to the other side of it and having a look. And so I don't know, oops. What are we just looking at here? Oh, yeah. Okay, so yeah, Linda just sent me a picture of another stone, like a stone wall or a buildup of some sort of an area, yeah, under a house or along a house. Let's see if I can bring that over at some point here. Okay, so anyway, getting back over here to this is where they're looking at that, and he was talking about the eye of the swamp being right over the hill, and he wanted to take Rick over and show him that. And that's where the eye was right there. So it's right on the other side. And that's where I think that they jumped over that rock anomaly or that wall, the cellar wall or whatever it is. They kind of went over it because they went around it to the other side and found that the stone road, it appears that the stone road continues from there heading over to the eye of the swamp. So that was really interesting that, because, again, like we were saying, the eye definitely means something.
And if the eye means something, I wonder if the anomaly will mean something.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not that far away.
It's not. No, you're exactly right. Actually, the anomaly was when I, was talking about Nolan's Peninsula that was built, it sticks out there. That was about midships of the anomaly that was shown there. So it would extend up the bow, if it were the bow, if it were a ship, would be almost up to the eye area. So, yes, yeah. Dr. Spinner said the rocks were stacked. It is the stone retaining wall that Tom Burns built. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can. Let me see if I can bring that picture up and show it. Let's see here. Bear with me just a moment, folks. Let me see if I can show this picture real quick. Let's see. I gotta stop the share or not share. Let's see. Let me go over here.
It just seemed like that Rick was really, the more Rick looked at, the more questions he had on his face. He wasn't saying anything. But that look was like, what are we getting into this late in the year?
Right.
Try to figure something out.
Yeah, that was the thing. You've seen the weather changing on them, and all of a sudden they're all wearing jackets, and it's coldy rain and stuff coming in. This was a picture that Linda sent me here, and this is there you see the house up there, and you see this retaining wall right here with all the rocks stacked up. So it could easily be a retaining wall, and it may not be a cellar wall. It might be a retaining wall, just to kind of hold back, part of the, who knows. But if the road goes, if the stone road goes right by there, was that some sort of a platform or what, but it's down below the level of it. So the stone road's down, what, 3 feet or so below that retaining wall. So I don't know. It's kind of curious, just exactly.
Keep dirt from covering it back up, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah. So thanks for sharing that. Appreciate it. There we go. Got that in there. Okay, Pat's with us. Hi, Pat. The Great Wall. Let's see. Let's see. Paul says, could the ship hull be used as diving bell or bridge caisson? Don't know. No more questions. We need answers. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think
It's like Marty saying, "No more wood. We need more. We need a
yeah,
bit more."
yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, the wood is killing us all, isn't it? All right. So I'm gonna see. Let me stop that. I'm gonna go back to my other pictures here. So there we go. And choose that. All right. So anyway, back to the eye. Um, let's see. I don't know, Brian. I'm going to get to that in just a second. I'm getting. He was asking about the hole they found. Yeah, we're almost there. We're almost to that point. Talking about the hole there. So anyway, you see how close they are now to the eye of the swamp, and so if it is leading over there, again brings up that question that I want to believe, whether I'm right or wrong, I don't know, but I want to believe that the eye is more important than just a blue clay, a place where they found blue clay and they were digging blue clay out of there. I want to believe that they were putting blue clay in there to seal up something. That's what I want to believe. Whether or not that's true remains to be seen. But if it's just like a ho hum to me. Well, the blue clay we know is used for sealing water out or whatever. So that's an important thing. But um, is that where they were getting it, or they were taking it there from somewhere else? We don't know. And the fact that Rick found some of that blue, he called it puddling clay or puddle clay. He found it, during in last week's episode along the rock stone road. So he found some, and I was thinking, well, maybe that just spilled off the cart as they were wheeling it along with the oxen, and some of it fell off, and they just left it there. They didn't bother to pick up a couple chunks that fell off. Were they taking it to the eye of the swamp, or were they taking it from the eye of the swamp? Don't know, but I want to believe they were taking it to the eye of the swamp because they were sealing up the entrance to the tunnel. I don't know. Okay, that's what I want to believe. Whether or not that's true. Tara said, did they get Steve Guptill to see if it was the same depth as the road? They had been doing that whenever they found another section of the road or path. You're right, they did. They always did do that. They always brought him over, and I bet they did. They just didn't show us because he's got GPS points taken all over this island. So I'm going to have to say yes, they did, even though we didn't see it. Because they're not going to miss that every time they find it. And he's been marking that all the way along. Maybe Steve, if he's watching tonight, or if he checks in, if you could let us know, Steve. I'm assuming that they're going to have you checking your all the way along this road, and getting GPS points as you go along here. I would assume that that's going to continue all the way through. So, yeah, Pam says she's with me on the eye. So is Dawn. Say, yeah, we got to believe, right? We got to hang in there to believe that that's the tunnel or something like that. Yeah, and then Linda chimed in with about Steve also saying that Steve was documenting all the way and probably just didn't show us right. That's what my answer, my take is on that. Let's see. Linda Simons says Graves died in 1887. There is a report of a Spanish Marade. There I go with my being able to pronounce things. Maradevi, a coin dated 1598, was found on his homestead in 1965 by Tobias. And that's in artifacts found on Oak Island. She's got a link there. Cool. Thanks. So there you go. There's some more information for us. Thank you, Linda. Appreciate that. Judy Rudabush says the puddled clay was found in the cores up at the money pit years ago. Makes you wonder. Old stories tell that the blue like clay was used to caulk windows in the Chester area back then. Interesting. Mara Vidi. Thank you, Judy. Usually it's Linda that helps me with my pronunciation, but thank you very much. I appreciate that. Vidi. All right. Thank you. Appreciate you. Yep. Let's see here. And there's Linda saying the same accent on the last syllable.
Last syllable.
Mara VD.
Our linguist.
We got a couple of them out there. Thank you very much. Yeah. Accent on the D. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to stop butchering that and I'm going to move on. All right. So from the from the eye of the swamp, And then we got Gary comes over, right? So Gary walks over and he gets going with his metal detector, and right off the bat he gets a hit. I mean, within moments he gets a hit down there in the trench that they're digging along, and it's going on. And he says, "Oh, there's a big hunk of iron in here." So they start to dig and find out that it's actually embedded into the side, where they haven't really dug out yet. It's down in there. So they get working on that, and lo and behold, they pull out a caster wheel, and it's clearly a caster wheel. And so, you would think, okay, caster wheel, well, that can't be that old. And in terms of things that they found on Oak Island, I would say it's not that old. I think Linda actually did some research on caster wheels and found that the first caster wheels were made, I think she said about 1850. Was that what she was saying? About 1850. And I was saying, yeah, probably around the 1800s, as I was thinking, if it is that old. And what would a caster wheel be used for? It's not going to roll over the stone road for sure, because that stone road's just too bumpy and too would not take little caster wheels like this. So this is going to be on some sort of a hand cart or maybe a small box type container that's on casters, and you push it along, but it's going to be on a smoother surface. So, but why would this thing be over here? Because as far as we know, there really isn't any smoother surface to be found over here, unless they found a way to really smooth off the stone road with some nice dirt on top and make it smooth to where they could move something like this around. I don't know.
The thing I found interesting, they started digging it. All of a sudden, Gary said, "Stop," and brought Aaron over right then, right there.
Mhm.
I mean, he didn't want to mess with this thing because he didn't want to disturb anything, in that area right there.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's true. Getting back to the eye, Tom says the eye is not natural occurrence, especially if it is surrounded by placed rocks. Thank you, Tom. That's exactly the way I see it. Pam Block says probably from previous treasure hunters. I think you're referring to the caster wheel. That could be true. Darlene says, take notice of the round indentation on the top mount of the caster. Okay, yeah, you're talking about this section right here.
Right.
Yep. Let's see. Tom Burns says the wheel is so small it would have to be used on a smooth surface. Yes, exactly right. And then Darlene says whatever was under it perhaps was round. Yep. Now there is going to be, most casters are going to have your bolt holes in four corners. So here, and here would be your four bolt holes to hold it onto something. So whatever it was mounted on, is going to have the base of it be that big. And you're talking about probably 4 inches in length here, at least. And then about 2.5 wide or 2 wide and 4 high, at least. Maybe it could be 5 by 2.5. That's pretty good size, judging by the size of his hand there. So I'm thinking probably 4 by 2, something like that. Yep, it definitely could be used to roll around on ship planks. You're right. If it was used for the deck of a ship, you could easily roll that around. That's absolutely true.
Let's see. Might be able to use it for mine if the mine was padded down or not.
What was that? Say that again?
If it was in a mine, it could be used.
If the surface, the walking surface of the mine was very smooth and hard, yes, they could. Those wheels are going to dig into dirt pretty quickly and easily and get stuck. Here's a couple of pictures that they had used to give an example of what it would look like back in the day and when it was all cleaned up. Obviously, this is not this one all cleaned up. This is a different one, but they kind of had a couple of examples of what it would look like. And that's a good example right there of what a caster wheel from the day looks like. Now you see this one's a bit newer. You see this little thing right here. That's actually a grease cert where they would grease the bearing that's in it. That's what I'm thinking it is right there. It looks like a grease cert to me. So that would be even a little bit newer, because I don't know when grease certs, if somebody wants to look that up and see when grease certs were invented to be able to grease the bearing inside or the shaft so that it doesn't wear too badly when they're using it. Some of the wood planks, let's see, were put on top of this. Sometimes wood planks were put on top of stone rows, according to Linda. That's very good possibility. Yeah, caster's probably off a piece of furniture. Could be. That was Shannon. Thank you, Shannon. Let's see. Wood planks, maybe. Yeah, Paul. That was Paul Kemp saying it. Yeah, he agreeing that could be used on some wood planks. Janet, going back to the eye, I think the eye of the swamp is just about the only original place that wasn't bulldozed by Dunfield, the destroyer. Yep. Maybe the eye is the point from where all other important locations are measured. That's an interesting thought. That is an interesting thought. And what is it relation? Its relation to the Nolan's Cross. Interesting. Yeah, that's a good thought, Janet. Thank you. Yeah, and Brian goes back to that maybe the whatever this device was that was using the caster was used on a ship. Yep. I agree. It would have to be on wood planks. Now, there's another look at it. You can clearly see that wheel. Right? Whoops, I'm pointing at the wrong picture. This wheel right here on the bottom, and then you see a bolt hole right there. So it is showing one of the bolt holes for the plate up top where it'd be bolted to something. And then that caster wheel, and you see how small that is. I mean, that's
a very small wheel.
Yeah, it's only a couple inches in diameter, so that's not going to go over a very rough surface. That's going to have to be on a smooth surface. So yeah, does it look like it's handmade or manufactured? I don't know. I got to get it cleaned up and have a better look at it. I wish I could see better in the wheel area. That might give us a better indication of if it was handmade or manufactured. I don't know.
That would be something Carmen might know by looking at it.
And they're going to take it to him. They took this to him and showed it to him. And Carmen, obviously when he was on with us, he couldn't tell us about things that hadn't been shown yet. So now.
And he said it with a smile too.
Yeah, he did. You're right. He did talk about it. Big smile on his face about stuff we had yet to see on the show, like the cannon parts from last week, and then and then this thing here too. And then I still want to know about that lock. I still want information on that padlock that we haven't seen anything back on that yet. Let's see. Deidre says, my assumption is that the caster wheel would have been used on rails such as a mine. Could be. Back to the eye. Don says the eye could have been a surface for fresh well or freshwater. Yeah, possible. That clay in the bottom of it, though, I don't know. That maybe that was. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure.
Isn't that where Rick drank the water or swallowed it in his mouth from?
Yeah, he took a mouthful of water that was over by the other stone pathway by Nolan's Peninsula there. He spit it out, but brackish. Yeah, it's brackish. Brian. Maybe on a cannon to move it to the side of the ship. I don't know how big the wheels would be on a cannon, but I don't know. Well, that's a thought.
I've never thought of that before.
The dating, I don't know if it's going to work out on the dating of it, but we'll see what Carmen says when he gets up. Maybe Carmen will show up here and he could talk about it now because it's been on the show. Of course, he hasn't examined it on the show, so that probably prevent.
Can't do it. So.
Yeah. Let's see. Caster used on a steam tractor. Let's see. Yep, Linda. Small dolly type wheel. Yep, used. I used that master lock on my high school locker. Did you? Oh, see. The plate makes me think early 1900s. Plate looks pressed. Yeah, you're right. It does, doesn't it? It does kind of look pressed. Yeah, this picture here. You're right. It does look like it's been pressed to make these the circle here. Pressed by.
If that's the case, we probably won't see it again.
Right. Yeah, that's true. We probably won't. If it's from the 1900s, yeah, but again, it still has a story to tell. It still has an interesting story to tell that I'd like to know. I mean, who was using it and why did they find it way down there? I mean, they found that pretty deep. That was found, 4 feet underground.
Yeah.
I mean, what in the world was that thing doing down there that deep? So it still has a story to tell, regardless of, what age it is. Yeah, but you're right, Jack. You're right. That does look, it does look like it has been pressed steel. Let's see, over here on the YouTube side, Nickel says, I have used a workbench trolley with caster wheels, and unless it's used on wood floors or concrete, you can't maneuver them. Exactly right.
Exactly.
You're exactly right. Yep. Thank you for that.
For anything in a swamp like that, you would need those big wheels, those big wooden wheels that are on the carts that they've seen.
Yeah, we were thinking, we were talking about the over on the other side of the causeway, Karen's property. They found those train car wheels, or I would think more of a not train car, small gauge. They were small gauge. Those would be more those would definitely be a rail cart or box or some type, and maybe something that would be used, a larger box that would be in a mine on rails, for the mine boxes, and those would have more like train wheels with the steel axle, the steel wheels with the little ridge on it to keep it on the track, that sort of thing. And there was some found over there, and I can't wait to have her on so we can talk about some of that stuff that was found. So let's see. A lot of good stuff, a lot of good chat going on tonight. My goodness, there's a lot of good stuff. This is exactly what I'd like to do. I could just sit here and do this all night rather than show you guys pictures. But Tom says,
Getting rid of it was always moving her last floor around too, which we have found out in the meantime.
mm-hmm.
Fred moved his fair share.
Yep. Oh yeah, he did. Steel wheel to steel rail is shaped differently. Yes, it is. At least one is seen like train wheels with an edge. Yeah, it had a lip on it, had an edge or whatever to keep it, on the track so it wouldn't come off the track to a degree. Yep. Linda said the hole you can see in the flat plate is very much round. It's about 2 inches. That was weird. So it couldn't go in dirt or stone. Right. The wheel is only about 2 inches in diameter. Right. So was this wheel found in the road or in the wall? I think it was found, Linda, I think it was found in the, well, let's go back. I can look at that picture. There's a trench right here. And I think this is where Aaron was working along the wall to try to find out where the end of the wall was my thinking. And that's where they found this. We'll have to re-examine the show, I think, to get a better answer for you.
I think that's where it came from. I think because it was in so deep, that's why Gary called Aaron over, because he didn't, he wasn't sure what it was.
Exactly. Yep. You're exactly right. So, there you have, you see how deep it was. I mean, look at all the dirt on top of that. And that's not piled dirt from digging or whatever. This is a dirt, this is the bank right here. So they're down a good 4 feet, or maybe even a little more that they found this thing. So, and that, like I said, it has a story to tell. What in the heck was it doing down there that deep underground? So hard to say, but, let's see. Yeah. So we'll have to find out. We'll have to revisit the show and see if we can find out about that for you, Linda, see if it was, where in position to where they were looking. We know it's in that section right there by that, looks like that retaining wall or that stone wall of whatever. The curse of the disappearing finds. Yep. Let's see. Hello, Dolly Wheel.
It could have been something used on a ship and just brought over too. Right? Somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mary said that. Mary.
Yeah.
Polsky.
Yeah. In the depth that it was found, it can't be new. I read that in Doug's voice. Nolan was used to move soil around, so who knows? Yep, exactly. Yeah, it could have been from something used on a ship. Yep. Were those rail wheels off the tanker sunk in the money pit? No, these were over by Don. Those rail wheels were found over off the island, actually on the mainland right there, if I remember correctly. They were found on the mainland over just on the other side of the causeway. let's see, close to the water. The caster was probably used for short distance to haul something big importance.
Tom Burns has a point. He goes, I'm starting to think that the road was just buried to hide it. That's why it's down there so deep. Once they got done, because they're not really finding the artifacts, Jeff, that I thought they would.
Right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's very true. I'm starting to think that the road was buried to hide it. Could be. Yep. That's why there was an ox cart in the interpretive center. An ore cart, I'm sorry. An ore cart in the interpretive center. Yep. Anyway, so that was an interesting find. It really was. I mean, even though it may not be that old, it was still an interesting find simply because, like I said, what was it doing down there? What were they using it for? And why did they only find one? Where's the other one? I mean, and maybe there are more that's further underneath that dirt, further to Gary's right shoulder there underneath that. But who knows? Let's see.
The question is, how much further are they going to go peel that thing back?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
See how far further they peel that thing back, because we're in a narrow crevice right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure what was going on there. He had to be trying to follow that wall, is what I'm thinking. But he was in a narrow trench there. Karen Public Cover were those ore cart wheels not buried on your property? Yeah, that's what. Yeah, Linda's asking Karen. Were those ore cart wheels not found buried? Were found on your property, and like the ones in the interpretive center. So we'll see if she can respond to that and let us know. So that's another interesting tale that I would like to know more about. Jenny, that's pretty funny right there. She said, I could just hear the depositor singing, "You picked a fine time to leave me, loose wheel."
Oh, Lord.
I love you guys. You're funny. That's hilarious. Yeah, he does have to worry about it caving in. You're right. Anyway, all right. So we're getting away from the fine time to leave me, loose wheel. And then we see Mr. Guptill showing up. And what's he holding there? What's he got over there? Him and Rick come along, right? And what's that? Where's his mighty stick of the GPS location? And he's holding a shovel? I mean, how many times have we seen Steve? How many times have we seen Guppy holding a shovel? I mean, I'm sure he's done it more than just once, right? That he got busy and he's over there. He's actually digging in the dirt. Man, that's awesome.
Yeah, pull him away from the money pit.
Yeah, I mean, so he had to. He's that the GPS stick has to be close by. He's not going to let that go too far, and he's not going to let anybody else, get a hold of that thing. So, well, actually, he has. I think he has said that he's let somebody else use it a time or two, but anyway. Hi, Mandy. Glad you're here. You're not late. Yeah, well, you're about an hour late, but that's all right. We're still going, so you can ask all the questions you want. Oh, I'm going to put I forgot to put the phone number back up in case anybody wants to call in. Please feel free to call in. You guys don't feel scared. I mean, come on and talk about your stuff. You can discuss things. If I can do this and get up here, and if Jack can come up here with me and talk about this stuff, let's see. Pam asked, anyone know who they all get? Whoops. Boy, I'm trying to read this stuff and it just keeps popping by. Who all they get to help the archaeologists to help dig on the path with shovels and trowels. A lot of them, that's a lot of digging. You're right, it is. And they get everybody that they can over there. They got David Fernetti over there helping dig. They got guys from Billy Gerhardt's team, his employees over there digging. And I mean, they get everybody involved in this.
Billy has a few people over there, if I remember right, too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, he does. It's the shovel stick. The shovel stick. That's funny.
I mean, I am just amazed by the archaeologist's patience with that little sweep and the little trowel and
Oh, I
everything. I
know.
mean,
After working with that little tiny trowel, the thing is like this big, and that's got to be painstaking. But anyway, yeah, though. So there, I just thought that was I had to make fun of you a little bit, Steve. Because there you are with the shovel in your. I had to. I'm sorry, but I had to do it, and I'll probably do it again.
we're equal with everybody, Steve. Don't worry.
Yeah, just so much fun. And then of course, Miriam's like, "Hey, Rick, yeah, what's up?" And then look at that, living at UP. There's the UP of Michigan, living it. I love it. I got to find me one of those. He comes up with all these different, Upper Peninsula hats, Uper hats. It's awesome. And then she found a little piece of pottery over there. So another indication that might have something to do with a house or something in that area. And this is all still in that same spot, that same general area. So that was kind of neat that they found that. And then now here's something did you guys notice this? I wanted to see how many people actually caught this. This was kind of cool. That they used to, and they still do when they talk about Michael John right here. They bring up on the bottom and it says something about Gerhardt Property Management or something like that. I've forgotten the name. Sorry, Billy, that I've forgotten the name of your company there, but it talks, it says Michael John. It says the name of Gerhardt's Property Management or something like that on the bottom of it. But now I noticed 2 times in the show yesterday, they called him Michael John Treasure Hunter. Did you catch that? I caught that. Did you catch that, Jack?
Yeah, I did. Well, he's been on the excavator helping Gary over there.
He's in the excavator, in the backhoe. I mean, he's on the wash table. The man's all over the place now. But now he has Treasure Hunter. I want to be called a treasure hunter. I mean, I'm a little jealous. That's awesome. But I caught that. I noticed that they did that twice on the show yesterday, and then
he's somebody of many trades right now this year.
Yeah, and not only that, but he's responsible for a couple of different finds. And as you see right here, right there, look at that. He found that hole right there. He found the hole right there. That one right there. Look at that. And that's the one that Rick was down there messing around with and trying to put his hand in there to see where that goes. And then he was talking about the fact that, hey, there could be, that's when he was making that comment that you brought up earlier about the fact that you're not going to leave your valuables, your coinage and that kind of stuff. You're not going to leave it sitting, in your kitchen in a cabinet. You're going to hide it somewhere under a floorboard or somewhere. And does it mean there's anything hidden over there? No, it doesn't. But it could be. You never know, right? Linda said we are equally opportunity abusers of cast members. It's not just Steve. No, it's not just
That's
Steve.
True. We show no favoritism.
If we're making fun of you a little bit, Steve, it's because we love you. We wouldn't do it if we didn't care about you. So, but Aaron, I mean, not Aaron, but Laird started it because he made that comment the very first time that I talked to Laird, he had made the comment about Steve and his makeup trailer. And him going and getting his hair, all set just right within the makeup trailer. So that's where it started. So I'm going to blame it on Laird, even though I kind of carried on. But anyway, so Michael John finds this hole right here, and then there's Stephen going, I wanted to find that hole. How come I didn't get to find it? I know I'm having too much fun with Steve right now. He won. Look at his face. He's like, dang it. How come I didn't? I'm sorry.
He put me down here for this.
He's never going to talk to me again. I swear he's not going to ever talk to me again after tonight. But I'm sorry. I couldn't help it. But anyway, so Michael John, the treasure hunter, find a little cavity right there. We don't know what this cavity is all about, but it could be something of some interest. And it might not be. So we don't know yet, right? So, I missed some of the stuff going by here. Man, you guys are a lot of chat happening here tonight. Let's see, judging by the clothes they were wearing, it looks like their hands, all hands on deck as time is becoming an important factor. You're right, Tom. They are getting closer and closer. You see, Steven's wearing that heavy coat there, or heavy.
Rick mentioned it 2 or 3 times that they were getting. Yep. The time was running out, and they needed some answers.
Yep. Deidre says, "Don't worry, I have a good time with Steve. Steve, I'm coming up." Oh, cool. All right, I'm looking forward to that. She's got a Steve meme coming up from this episode. Cool. Linda says, "I think that Michael John is a smart and competent guy and is earning his place on the team." You're exactly right. Yes. He has definitely proven that. Obviously, proven that he knows what he's doing. So that's great. And that's just I mean, that I like that. Oh, it's treasure hunter, man. I want to be called treasure hunter. Yep, treasure hunter extraordinaire. And he's built his.
He's very observant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You have to be when you're going through we'll get to that here in a little bit. I hope you guys. I have a new friend, a cat. And she's over here mewing at me because I haven't petted her in the last 5 minutes, or hour. Actually, it's been an hour. Let's see. Yep, treasure hunter extraordinaire, and he. Let's see. Yeah, he does. That's what Deidre says. He finds everything. He is a treasure hunter. Yep. Nope. Tom hasn't phoned in yet. Yeah, we're getting to that. Jack mentioned the other find that he had. We're getting to that. We'll get to that in just a second. Hopefully, if I let's see. Yes. Mary said that Michael John has picked up the obsession. Yes, he has.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, you all get.
Saturday, he called it a disease. I believe it was.
His what? Oh, the disease. Yeah.
The disease.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely.
Sharon every time says, "I'm surprised they weren't wearing higher boots," which you would think they would get off. The deeper down you go to muck here, it's going to get.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you would think. I'd say interesting to see what's going to be under there, and it could just be a simple cavity in the rocks there. But there might be more to this. They have to investigate it, and hopefully we'll see more next week on it. I think.
What's his reputation, especially paying silver and gold on the mainland?
I know. That's key right there. That definitely, and I think they like I said before, I think they've said that that Samuel Ball also did the same thing, that he was doing that as well. He was buying stuff on the mainland with silver and gold coins. And wouldn't you wonder back then in that time period, if a guy came into town and he's buying something with gold coins, wouldn't you kind of be wondering, where the heck did he find this from? Well, I'd want to know. I'd be kind of curious where in the heck did he find that? Oh. I'm just reading something Linda sent over to me. Anyway, so all right, I'll quit making fun of Steve with the look on his face. And but this was a picture that they showed on the show last night, talking about the property that Anthony Graves owned. He ended up buying, we know that Smith was the guy. John Smith was the guy that actually owned the lot where the money pit is. He owned a couple, and that was obviously, over in this area here, 17, 18, 17 and 18, right in this general area. And so we know that John Smith owned these. John Smith was one of the people that was listed as one of the 3 that found the original money pit. And then he bought the lot that the money pit was on. Now, he passed away later on, and then this Anthony Graves bought several lots, and he bought the ones that John Smith owned, and then also bought all of these. So he owned this whole section right here. This whole.
I mean, I never realized that he owned that much.
I didn't either. And we've only heard.
You don't hear his name. I mean, you just do not hear his name.
Right. And then Linda was saying that it's likely that his homestead, or the actual house site was over by where Nolan's property is, which is right here. This is where Nolan's house sits, on lot 11, right here in this area. And that's where the house sits. So she was saying that that's is probably where it was. Paul Kemp said, didn't Fred Nolan think he found 11 possible treasure recovery spots? I don't know. Was it 11? I think you might be right. You might be right. It's getting. I'm getting now. So let's see. I'm just reading some of the other chat that's going by here. Man, it's just flying by.
Marilyn asked, "Did Graves have more property than Samuel Ball?" I believe he did.
Yeah.
By the
Oh,
way
yeah.
that
He
map
did.
goes.
He definitely did. Yeah, I think Samuel Ball only had a total of 7 lots on Oak Island at one time. When he finally bought all that he only had like 7. And look how many this Anthony Graves owned.
That's over half the island.
Over half the island, yeah. The whole north, almost the entire north side, as well as the eastern edge. Ball 9. I'm sorry, it was 9. Yeah, Linda just corrected me on that. I thought it was 7. It's 9. He had 9 lots. Show us the cat. Oh, she's over there now. She's over laying on my, giving me a dirty look because I didn't pet her. She's giving me the stink eye right now. Oh, she's not getting on the lap yet. She's been around now for, how long has she been here? About 3 weeks. We're becoming better friends, but she's not jumping up on the lap yet. So, which is a good thing, because she'd be right up here with her tail in my face when I'm trying to do the show. So I'm holding. I'm good with the no lap as of right now. Anyway. Yeah, that's what we need, is her tail in my face. I think we've seen your cat jump up on your desk one time.
Oh yeah, he made his appearance. He made it known he was here.
Mm-hmm, yep. Let's see, Pat.
John Brett says, how many years was Graves there? I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish we're going to have to do some research on Anthony Graves and find out just exactly what.
You just don't hear about it. I mean,
no. The first time that I remember hearing about him was when Rick mentioned his property. That when they were finding all those the stuff over there on the west side of the swamp, and he had mentioned Anthony Graves' property or nearby, and I had no idea, and I was like, "Well, who's this guy?" Just reading. Judy Rudabish says Graves' daughter Sophia married a Sellers. Remember the lady who was plowing and fell into the cave-in pit? That was Sophia when she was married to Seller. Interesting. See, she's got a lot of knowledge on that stuff right there. So yeah, we're gonna have to get some more information about Anthony Graves. I'd like to definitely dig up some more stuff on him. So I may work on that over the course of the next. I want to be going up north, so I won't be able to do much research while I'm up there. But so they owned the land for quite a while. Yeah. Sophia Graves Sellers. So they owned the land for quite a while. Yep. Didn't hear me yelling at the phone. Anyway, so all right. So as we move along, let's see here. All right. So Anthony Graves owned a lot of property, and we'll get more detail on him. And then we go to Linda's favorite place, the good old wash table, where they break out the fire hose and blow every little piece of paper off of the thing that they could have used for, manuscripts and stuff like that. I think she was saying something about, hey, point it off the wash table, get your nozzle to where it's just showing a nice even spray, and then work it over there. They turn it off and just blast the wash table with it. And all those little pieces of paper that they would have found with the little letters on it, the little tiny thing, blow them right off there. But anyway, so here we go to the wash table, right? So, and there you got treasure hunter Michael John and Steve Guptill there. They're digging around in the spoils. Now, these spoils were from E5215. Yeah, E5.25. And so they were talking about that. That was E5.25 was actually clear over on the other side of C1. It was south. Let's see if that's north. They're working their way west. So that would be actually north and east of C1, quite a ways away from C1. But anyway, they were going through those spoils and looking around on the, on the wash table there. And they found, pieces of what appeared to be more of the um, coconut fibers that they found.
And we have not seen coconut fiber in quite a while.
Right. And when you're finding coconut fiber that was down deep in the money pit area, that's pretty significant. It really is. And that was 2 years ago. And that was a 5-foot can that they had put down there in there. So they were going through all those spoils and they came across what appears to be, or what they were thinking was, coconut fiber. And then they, of course, they did a shot. It may not be the same coconut fiber, but they showed a shot of other coconut fiber that was found.
Everything that came up through coconut fiber came up through Smith's Cove through those water tunnels and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, you can see I snagged this one. I was actually watching because we got the Phoenix Rising over on the Twitch side. He was, he shows it the show over there, and I actually snagged this picture because I missed it on the other show. So I always watch with him, and I leaned over here and grabbed it off of there too. So, Linda says that Graves purchased John Smith's property and lots in 1857. Interesting. Yeah, turn it on. Linda says turn it on facing away, and then bring it over once you got a fine, stream going or spray going. Jack says I'm a gold prospector too, so I love the wash table. Absolutely, and they have one of those
machines.
Yeah, I forget. What do they call that thing now? What, Jack? What do they? I'm looking at Jack on here, on the chat. Jack, what do they call that? Trommel, the big machine that does the wash machine that they have out on.
It separates the size of the racks and everything.
Yeah. You see them all the time on Gold Rush. I like that show too. It's always on there too. I forget what they call the thing now. It's got a name to it. And I can't remember what it is, but Jack will know. Let's see. It's okay. Michael John is using the hose and he finds everything, so we trust him with the hose. Yeah, we do, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
A wash plant trommel. Thank you. The wash plant trommel. I knew you'd know the name of that. That's why I love you guys. Oh, and so Chuck Bryan over on the YouTube side said the same thing. Yep. And James, wash plant, sluiceway, wash plant. That was James. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Really?
Yeah, I know. That's why I love. Our
members are great.
Knows the answers to this stuff. I'll be at a loss for it, and I can't think of what. All I have to do is ask, and everybody knows. Yeah, Linda said I'm fond of the wash table, but not the hard spray. Turn the darn hose on facing away and dial it down to a fine spray, and then spray the wash table. There you go. That's the way to do it. Trommel. Yep. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Chuck jumped in there too. Yep. All right. But anyway, so here they are. They're looking around, and then, Mr. Treasure Hunter, Michael John, found what appears to be a small, they were calling like a cannonball or whatever. It's not really a cannonball. The cannon's much bigger. But then they got on the thing calling it grape shot. Now, grape shot, like Jack had said earlier, had something to do with like the early days of being a shotgun, where you're shooting out several small balls together. From we're talking about like a blunderbuss or something like that.
Blunderbuss is what Gary said.
Right, exactly. Something with a large bore on it, had a very large bore, and would be able to shoot out several things at once, or a couple of them, and just riddled, like damage. You're not going to go very far with it. You're not going to get distance, but that wasn't the idea. It was the more items, more shrapnel coming at you, or toward the side of a ship or whatever at one time. And then so they found this thing, and it went. And I was the same way when I first saw it. I thought it was metal. I thought it was steel. But as they got looking at it later, and they had it over in the research center, they found out that it was actually made out of stone. It's actually
And that's what surprised me because Doug said he was made by a stonemason of all people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because and then Laird got his cameo. We were wondering, where's Laird? Where's Laird? How come he's not?
Oh, you can blame me for that one, Jeff. I did that one last night. I said,
Yeah, he says, where's Laird? Laird hasn't been on the show. And it's like, boop, there's Laird. He gets his cameo over in the research center, and he's looking at the. He's
not 30 seconds after I said that, too.
Yeah, it was. But he's looking at it, and that's when they cleaned it up and they were checking it out. They realized that it was actually stone and not steel. And when your first impression, you look at it, you think it's actually made out of steel, but it was stone. And here's a picture of grape shot, what they call grape shot, like the size of grapes or whatever, and just shooting a whole bunch of these things at you at once. And somebody said, yeah, wouldn't that hurt? I bet you if one of those things hit you in your body someplace, it would rip a hole right through you. I mean, that's, yeah.
You get a group of people coming at you, just let it go, and boy, the damage it would do.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. Grape shot.
It makes you wonder why they found something like that on the island. Why?
Right.
What kind of weapon would you need for that on the island?
Right. Well, that kind of leads, and then that's what Marty said when they were in the war room later. He kind of alluded to where we're headed next when we get to the next portion of the show last night. Kind of leads that direction. So we'll see. Tom was wondering if they can figure out the source of stone. Maybe that would be kind of neat if they could. So anyway, there you see a picture of the grape shot of some grape shot. And then after we get done with that, then they did go over, I didn't get pictures of it, but they did go over to the interpretive center to look at it. And they had, Marty was over there. And so was, Aaron was over there. I mean, I'm sorry. Laird was over there. And they were looking at Doug, and they were looking at it in the interpretive center, or not the interpretive center, but the research center, and realized that it was actually made out of stone. And they had a good look at it at that point. So that kind of rounded that up. And then we go over to the money pit. Now, I didn't have a whole lot for the money pit tonight, simply because it just basically they're still working that same kind of following that same line. And I didn't take a picture of it here tonight. Yeah, blunderbuster, smaller pistol type gun. Yep. Do that too. Get a couple of questions answered. Yeah. From what kind of stone? That's what Mary was saying. From the kind of stone, if they could figure out what kind of stone it was, she was hoping that they could do that too. Get a couple of questions answered. So I took a picture of I didn't take a picture of my map, and I hate holding it up to the camera just simply because it's really hard to see. But they've been working that line. I'm going to do this, but if you guys can see that, they're working this line across right here, heading across that way. Now, this next hole that they just dug, this is the one that they're working on here is actually CD 2.5, which is this one right there. Right there. That's CD 2.5. They've been working this top line, and then they dropped down here and they tested this one right here, CD 2.5. Now, Deidre's got a much nicer map that she will share at some point on their site over there at Could It Be Oak Island. But anyways, marking these as they go along. And of course, we don't see about every hole they drill. But this is like the seventh one. They kind of show some of them there. But the seventh one where they keep hitting wood. Yep.
And it's all 85 to 88 feet.
Exactly. Yeah. This one was, 83.5 to 88 feet. And they said it was 5 feet. They were roughly 5 feet away from the outer wall of, actually it looks more like 10, but if C1 is showing the right size, I thought C1, looks like C1 was actually a 5-foot can, but it might have been bigger. But anyway, they said they were about 5 feet away from the outer wall of C1. And of course, C1, if you remember, is the one that had the um was the one
Shiny
that
gold
had
objects.
the shiny gold object down inside. So, and they're thinking that C1 of all the cans that they put down, they think that C1 is the most likely to be near the money pit area. Because they did find some gold anomalies shining in the sidewall when they did the 4-inch borehole years ago. And then when they did the larger borehole or would put the can down there, they did come up with some camera, and they went down there and they seen those shiny gold objects in the wall side of it. Anyway, um, so they're hoping that that's leading them in the right direction. So we'll see. Linda says grape shot was invented by Henry Shrapnel in 1784, called the British secret weapon. Interesting. That's really cool. Thank you for that, Linda.
The last name really shrapnel. Boy, that says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, Henry Shrapnel. And we know what that means, right? Shrapnel's used for all the shrapnel, like when a hand grenade goes off. That's why they have all the what I'm trying to say, pineapples, sides of a hand grenade, so it breaks apart and causes all that shrapnel to fly everywhere and take out people. It would take some serious powder. I've used black powder for only 50 cal, and it takes a lot. A blunderbuss or a pistol, yeah, to push out that size, yeah. Oh yeah, he did, didn't he? Yeah, Janet said something about the stone. You're right. I thank you for bringing that up. Janet Scorza said when she was answering the question, wonder what kind of to find out the source of stone that the grape shot was made out of, and one of them did say something about thought it was limestone, possibly from the island. So I don't know. I don't think they were definitive on that, but that's right. That was mentioned. Thank you for bringing that up. And then Jack said even in the 1700s they used lead. Let's see. Deidre says each time they would hold up the grape shot, all I could think about or think of was that they look ready to
Play an epic game.
epic game of beer pong. Let's see. Tom. I'm sure, but a blunderbuss would work, wouldn't it? Yeah. I mean, a blunderbuss. I mean, how big was the bore on a blunderbuss? Was it as big as that thing? I don't know. That'd just be one shot. That certainly wouldn't be grape shot. That would just be one bullet. If it was used in a blunderbuss, I think. I don't know. Because you'd have to have a bunch of small ones in a blunderbuss.
It's almost like they'd have to put nails or something if you were going to do damage like that. I mean,
Yep.
I've heard of them doing it like that, putting other kinds of shrapnel in there and then letting it go.
Paul Kemp says, didn't Terry recently submit a post indicating a lease to fishermen? Could grape shot be a fishing sinker? Could be, but not that big a one, I don't think. But yeah, well, that's made out of stone anyway. Yeah, Don said, hoping they can find a void while drilling 87 feet and maybe drop in a camera. Yeah, so far they haven't actually. They think it's a collapsed tunnel that they're tracing because they haven't. I don't think that they've said anything about finding a void area down there, have they?
Not that I can recall.
As they're following this 88 feet, wood that they're following it along there, heading toward the west, that they haven't actually found a void area. I don't think they were talking about it being collapsed. So I don't know. Yeah, but I would love them to find a void because that would definitely be an area where it wasn't collapsed. And then
you could set a camera down.
Yeah, then they could stick a camera down in there and get a good look at it. And that's you would think that they would definitely want to do that. And also, when this is something that Terry Matheson had mentioned, was that if that wood is down there at 87 feet, that tunnel had to be the size of people, because you're not gonna crawl on your belly and put in that wood. So it had to be man-sized to be able to put that, to get down
Would take-
there and create
You would
this.
take 5 feet, 6 feet, something like that.
Yeah. I wouldn't think anything much more than that for sure.
Probably 5, I would imagine.
I mean, you'd have to stoop over. You'd be hurting your back.
I couldn't do that one.
But I wouldn't think that they're going to make it so it's not really tall. But because they don't want to waste the effort in making it too tall. So you might have to stoop or, some people, I'm 6 foot. So I mean, it's, yeah, I thought Tom says, that limestone is rather soft. Not sure would it would withstand the pressure of an explosion. That's kind of what I thought, that limestone was pretty soft, but I don't know. I'm not a what's the name of the guy who would,
Geologist?
a geologist. Yeah. That would work with dirt and stone and stuff like that. Yeah, those blunderbuss barrels were huge. I do remember seeing, we'd have to get, Dwayne Parker. Is that the guy that does the Halifax, the Pirates of Halifax? I have to get him and ask him about that. He'd be a good one to ask.
He probably has one.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. That's what I'm saying. He'd probably be a good one to ask because he probably has one. The Pirates of Halifax. Those guys are great. I love there. And they were on. Alessandra interviewed him twice, and that was pretty funny.
Maybe ask her.
Great.
Maybe we can ask her in a couple weeks.
Yep. Let's see. Linda said blunderbuss was large caliber bore, 1.5 to 2 inches, fired a couple of small pellets like today's shotguns, like lots of fire over a large area. Yep. Must be granite. You would think granite's pretty hard. Yeah. Only Freemasonry in the group. Jack said C1 was Charles Hole, only known Freemason in the group, and he may have be almost spot on.
There's more than one Freemason in that group, isn't there?
Yeah, Tony Sampson is a Mason as well. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Mary said barrels aren't a good gauge of powder. A 22 bullet will travel farther than a 12 gauge. And I think the blunderbuss was probably good for close range. Yeah, but not that powerful. Right. I agree. Yep. Oh, Linda says that Dwight, he posted today, thought it looked like a blunderbuss shot. See, there you go, right there.
Okay.
Yep. Deidre says the tunnel just needs to be the size of the Ark of the Covenant, plus 6 inches on either side. Yep.
All
Charles is also a Mason. That's true. Yeah, I think, Charles is a Mason. That's right. Yep.
I knew there were 2 or 3. I could not.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, to get the Ark of the Covenant down there, you're going to have to have a little extra room. Yeah, Scottish miners were short. I don't know about that. Maybe. So, and then, I had to do it. I had to take a picture of the wood. I put the picture of the wood in there. I know it's boring wood, but it is telling the story. It's following that line. So I did take a picture of the boring wood that Marty is so fond of seeing so often. And you see him take some out, he'll always take a chunk of it out and bag it and tag it, so they can get it analyzed. And then, before I get there, this was what was really kind of cool. The fact that we had just talked last Sunday, with Jim McQuiston, and then, I'm watching the show last night and bam, there he is. And he's up there talking. And I know that, we had him on and we talked for over
2 hours.
And it was really, really interesting, what he had to say. And he did kind of touch on this a little bit. Excuse me. Yeah, TXT says the Ark of the Covenant's in Ethiopia. Could be. I mean, those guys say they have it inside that little temple that's all fenced off and stuff. They say they have it over there. I don't know, but they won't let anybody look at it. So it could be right. Um, let's see. The treated wood, yeah. Yeah, wood. Who knew? Yeah, I know. I had to take a picture of it. Sorry, just to show that they were still making it. But yeah, James McQuiston. Like I said, we just had James on Sunday at 4 o'clock, and we had a great time with them. Just vast amounts of information. 6 books and a novel. 7 if you count the novel on Oak Island. And you really should check those out if you get a chance. I've got one of them here, and I've got the other one. The Oak Island and New Ross is going to be on its way to me, and
That's the newest. That's the newest one that he
that's
has
the
out.
newest one. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's an interesting whole section there because it talks about the property up there with that Alessandra owns. If they were talking about that, could be there's a foundation that was uncovered up there, and that's an interesting story in itself. And when he was on last night, when Jim was on last night, he was talking about Sir Francis. I'm sorry, Sir William Alexander. And Sir William Alexander was originally one of the people who founded Nova Scotia to begin with, as Nova Scotia. Um, and he also founded the Knights Baronet. And James, and he can. I was going to try to explain everything that he talked about. I think it's best if you guys have an opportunity to watch that section of the show again. You will get a
Toward
much
the end
better.
of the show, if I remember correctly.
What's that? Say that.
It was towards the end of the show when he got into that one real
Yeah.
hard.
So, and it was really interesting how he described this, but he was talking about the 3 major groups that were all involved in and on Oak Island. And those groups consisted of the Freemasons, the Knights Baronet, and the Plymouth Colony. Now, we've kind of talked about the Plymouth Colony before in relation to the fact that, and there's been other researchers that have brought that up, that have talked about it in relation to the fact that, like, Nova Scotia was supposed to be the 13th colony. I've heard that. They all knew about it. All the people in that were involved in Plymouth knew about it, and also the son of William um, Sir William Alexander. What was his son? Did I have that right?
Yeah, it was his son.
Yeah, he was an investor in the Plymouth colony. So they were all connected. All those guys were connected. So they were helping to set up the original, the Plymouth colony to begin with down there. And there was another picture that I had. And then of course Roosevelt was also one of these guys that were tied in with that, and they all have roots. Their ancestors go back to Plymouth and also to Oak Island. And this is probably part of the reason why Roosevelt and them were also interested in it, because of the fact that he said it was because of all their descendants pursuing gold, or the old family legend. So the family legend passed down to all these guys, and that's where they had their interest in going and checking this out. I grabbed that G. That G's been on the island for a while, carved into a rock, and it certainly wasn't from the depositor days. All it was much newer than that. But that's your sign of the Freemasons being around on the island right there. And then also, the eye of the swamp. And we've talked, this is one of the reasons why, I keep thinking that the swamp is more important in this whole story than just a mucky old swamp, right? And the eye up on the top, because of the triangle shape. And this is that pyramid that we see on our dollar bill with the all-seeing eye at the top.
On the top.
Now, why would this thing be laid out just like this? I mean, isn't that coincidental that the swamp is a triangle and then on the top you have the eye? That's just so fascinating to me. And I know they've talked about it on the show many times, but that's why I keep saying that the eye of the swamp and the swamp itself is more to the story than we may know. Or that
And what they found out this year is maybe just the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. It could be. And I think that, like I said, that's why I keep going back to the swamp having more, or the eye of the swamp having more importance than that they've found out so far. Yeah, Mason's work, exactly right, Pam.
And you have to remember that FDR's grandfather was a Mason also.
Yeah, that was Warren.
Oh, Warren Delano.
Yep, Jr. Warren Delano Jr. That was Roosevelt's grandfather. He was involved in it, and that was where those stories got passed down. And that's why Roosevelt was so involved in this. But he talked about those three there, and then also that he was involved in the Scottish Knights, and were from the 1600s, were the Freemasons. Now that's in his research and stuff, but again, it would be much better if he would explain this. And I think he didn't really touch on it that much on Sunday. I think maybe he knew because of the fact that it was going to could be coming out on the show. He didn't really talk about the whole Plymouth colony that much on Sunday when we talked. And we'll have to have him back now to kind of reconnect us with this whole part here. But that connection between, the Plymouth colony, and I wanted to bring it up here. Now, here's showing how close they are in relation to each other. Now, Nova Scotia was originally thought to be part of the 13th colony, and then they ended up changing it and splitting the state that was Vermont and New Hampshire in two, and then creating two states there instead of one. But you see how close they are together. It's not that far. And so, and like he was talking about the British ships going back up, and you've got this, stuff. You've got some, I keep calling it treasure, but you have, it's your money or whatever, your important stuff that you would take up with you. And you would, they were showing about how the ship could very well go into Mahone Bay right here. And you could go in there and anchor out and hide behind the, behind
and
Oak
he said
Island.
you couldn't see it from you could not see it from the mainland from Mahone Bay.
Right. Yep. Let's see. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, Linda said he didn't know when he was going to be on. He did not know. You're right. And I remember during the interview, I was going to ask him more about Plymouth. And for some reason, I kind of backed away from that because he had mentioned it briefly, but he didn't really delve into it. And I wasn't sure if it was.
He kept it in Nova Scotia and Oak Island pretty much in that area.
Mm-hmm. So, but that Plymouth is very important. And this is why, I think there was and it might have been James, or it might have been one of the other guys that were talking about this, but they were talking about because of the fact that this was, that these guys, and I still go back to this, that these guys in Plymouth and setting up the original 13 colonies, they knew about Oak Island. They knew about something up there that they might view. And so I thought, well, maybe they had gone back up to Oak Island. They got some of that treasure out of it, and they used some of that money, the gold and whatnot, to finance the Revolutionary War, right? The War of Independence. Did they? Maybe is that what happened with it? Did they go back up and get some of that and use it to finance the war? I don't know, but they're connected. They are connected, and I think he has compelling evidence to show that they were connected. Between
there were a number of Freemasons involved in this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I mean, we got to get him back on to talk about this some more. Now that it's been on the show and it's been out, I want more information on it. And you see, just when you're sitting there watching in the war room, when he was doing his discussion there, you see the interest on, everybody's faces, Marty and Rick even said something about when you're listening to him talk, just like when he was talking on Sunday with us on Sunday, you're just kind of, you're just kind of sitting back trying to take it all in. And there was so much he covered in 2 hours that, I mean, I can't remember how much he actually talked about Plymouth, the Plymouth colony, and the founding of America, and all this going on, and the ties between those guys that founded that, and also those that were in Nova Scotia. So he did cover quite a bit of this. He was talking about the Freemasons, Daniel McGinnis, Melbourne Chapel, which was with the chapel shaft. That he was one of the searchers, was also amazing. And then the young Roosevelt.
Right.
Roosevelt in his early days was on the island, and he was also involved in that. So there's where I'm saying that it was the family knowledge. It was a legend in the family that was passed down. And if it was in Roosevelt's family and that information was passed down, then that's why Roosevelt was partaking
Right.
in this, and he was up there. So
I know when we interviewed him on Sunday, he had been up there 3 or 4 times. They had not used everything that he had. He told us he had no idea. He gets no notice. He gets nothing, and
yeah,
he's going to be on.
yeah, I did. I asked him after that. Yesterday, I asked him right after the. Well, no, it was actually this morning. I asked him. I said, "Did you know you were going to be on?" He goes, "No," because they don't tell him until it's almost time or whatever. But yeah, he didn't know he was going to be on, and there he is explaining all this stuff about that, and that was just fascinating. So I just know that it's all connected, and again, whether or not they went back and they got that treasure and they used it for financing the war, I don't know, but I mean that's a long shot, I guess, but they knew it was there, and why would they used the island as a bank vault. um what's this? Oh, Jenny said, I wondered if there was more to the story. Nova Scotia sending Christmas tree to Boston. I wonder if there was more than just a goodwill when Boston sent help to Nova Scotia. I don't know. Could be. Could be. Let's see. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, all the theorists have said they really have no idea when they're going to be on the show next. So that's not. You're right. It's not exclusive to Jim McQuiston. You're right. They just don't. They don't get that kind of information usually. Karen replied about the ore cart. Yes, we have a set of ore cart wheels on our property. That was Karen. Now she has the site or the page of the other side of the causeway, Oak Island, the other side of the causeway, and she's the one that helped us with those pictures that we have at the beginning. Again, thank you very much for that. And there's more too that I'm going to be changing it up as time permits. But anyway, isn't that? Oh, there's James. James jumped in. Hi guys, I just stopped by for a short time. Delano and Roosevelt, both descendants from the Mayflower folks. Also, one of Roosevelt's forefathers appears to have owned Oak Island as part of a larger land grant. I just learned today that there is new. I got to click on see more. Oh my gosh, there's quite a bit here. That the new Delano connection to ownership of Nova Scotia. I am still looking. Whoop! It almost jumped by on me. I'm still looking into it with the Oak Island team. William Alexander's son, William, was the world's first non-operative Mason. It gets a bit tangled, but not really difficult to understand in my books. By the way, I have no idea I was going to be on. I stayed up until 1 a.m. to watch the show all over again. Thank you, James, for coming in and
thank you for being on,
James and Jim. I can't lock one in here. Jim or James. He did say on the show that you can call him Jim. So I keep jumping back and forth. But thank you so much for jumping in and sharing that with us. This is a story right here that is not. It's not over yet, and I'm so fascinated to get more details from you at some point, Jim, that you can, after the season is done here or whatever, if we can get you back on to talk about this again. Because I was just fascinated by what you'd said on Sunday, and to have you come back and give us more information. I mean, you're still finding out stuff right now, and this is great, really, really good, because I know I believe in you and your connection that you've got going on between Nova Scotia and Plymouth and the original 13 colonies. So, man, that's just awesome stuff. Yeah, Jim, he gave thumbs up on Jim. Yep, thanks. So I'll try to stick with Jim instead of going back and forth on that. Yeah,
There's
Michelle.
there's so much history that he's finding out.
Oh my goodness, it is, and I think he could be on the right track here. Let's see. Marilyn says, I think my grandfather Ross on my father's side belonged to a Masons branch in Ontario. Is that connected to the Freemasons too? Somebody might be able to answer that for you. Let's see. Michelle Gibson says, remember the Roosevelts owned Campobello Island off of New Brunswick. I did not know that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's neat. That's really cool. I'm reaching down here to pet the cat, so she'll quit meowing. I don't know if you guys can hear or not. The Christmas trees that are given to Boston every year in appreciation of their help during the Halifax explosion in 1917. Darlene, thank you, Darlene. That's very interesting. Yeah, and Pam said, "Thank you, Jim, for helping us to understand that. We really do. That's awesome. I just love it when the guests that we have on the show will come in and jump in every now and then, or the cast members come in like they did last week and jump in and say stuff and add to the show. That's just great because obviously we're over here speculating. I'm watching just like you guys. We're watching the TV show and we're kind of speculating as to what they're finding and where they're going with that stuff. And it's really nice when you come in and either confirm or deny what I'm up here saying because I'm not always right, obviously. So that's always nice when you guys can do that, and it helps us out a lot. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. Appreciate that. So Freemasons. Oh, as Wanda was answering, I think my grandfather Ross was on the father's side belonging to, yes, Masons. A Mason is Freemasons. I don't know all the technicality on that, but that could be true. Boy, a lot of good stuff going by here. Yeah.
I just wonder what Hyde Park's presidential library would have on him. He connected to Oak Island and everything.
I don't know if you saw that. Kitty just jumped right up on the desk and then took off. Anyway, sorry about that.
Cameo.
Kind of I don't know if you saw that tail flash by there. Let's see. Tom Burns said, you're responding to remember the Roosevelt's own Campobello Island. Tom Burns says they had a summer home there, but they did not own the island. Summer home is still there, worth a trip to see. Okay. That I don't know anything about that, so that might be interesting. Shannon said I visited many years ago, so that's interesting. Watch the film Sunrise at Is it Campobello? Campobello, old great movie. That was from Pat. Thanks, Pat. Interesting stuff. Man, you guys got so much knowledge. You really do. It's awesome. But anyway, talking about, how they were hiding the ship in here in Mahone Bay, that'd be a great place to hide and also weather out the storms because they were talking about the spring storms being so bad, trying to get through there to get back over across the ocean.
He was at 80-foot waves.
Yeah. He was talking about some really nasty waves and stuff and how they had to kind of anchor out or hide, get into an area like this. And you could see where you'd be protected right there in Mahone Bay and get some protection in there and be able to hide as well. You could hide behind the island there and the water was deep enough and nobody would ever know you were there. And you're protected from the storms and the high waves and everything too. So Linda said Kitty wants to be part of the exciting treasure hunt. Cats are very curious and supernatural powers may be helpful in the adventure. Yeah, she's mad at me now because I reached for her. I was just going to set her down and she's still not. Like I said, she's only been here about 3 or 4 weeks. So we're still working on our getting to used to each other. If I reach too quickly to pet her, she's like, she runs off like 3 steps away and then she'll come back, but she gets got to be careful.
Now they did go up, something, Rick, was it Rick and Peter? There was 2 or 3 that went to Hyde Park through the library there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure how long.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how long they were there or anything, or what they were looking for at that time in connection.
I don't remember either. I really don't. Mary said I believe they did in season 5 or 6. Yep. Yeah, I don't remember. we'll have to dig that back up.
Something I remember was an old car catalog system, which really blew my mind away.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that was. And here was that picture where they showed all three. He showed all three together, Roosevelt, and then I think that was Roosevelt's grandfather Warren in the middle there, and then of course Sir William Alexander on the far right, and they're all connected together. They're all connected together. So that just it's very interesting. And like James had said, or Jim had said, that their family had passed down this legend of this money, this treasure being on Oak Island up there. And so that's why they were all involved in some point, in some way. They're all involved in that, and also in the search to find it. So, I mean, there you go. I mean, that's some pretty compelling research that Jim has done and come up with some ideas here. So I'm really, he added some more here. Let me see what it says here. Roosevelt used to sail when very young to the islands in the Bay of Fundy, near where their summer home was, looking for buried treasure. I don't know if he knew something, or was just a young boy with the treasure hunts on his mind. He never quit believing in Oak Island, and I got to see more in Oak Island based on the letters to treasure hunters there, on his letters to treasure hunters there. So, yep. Yeah, you're right. He could just be, like you said, like your quote, Jim, that you have in the interpretive center, about and I can't remember exactly. I read it that one day, but that's a very interesting quote that you have on the wall in there, and about you reliving your youth. And that's what, we all did, Treasure Island and all those movies and stuff like that when we were kids. And you kind of relive that youth when you're up there being able to dig up treasure, go hunting for treasure. I mean, that's why I got my metal detector over here in the corner, because, and I got to get out and start using it again here this summer. So let's see. Oh, Jan says season 4, episode 12, Rick, Paul, and Alex went to Hyde Park. There you go. Thank you very much, Jan. Jan jumps out. Look at that. She jumped right out there and grabbed that information for us. So, let's see. Linda says John Robinson became owner of Campobello Island in 1857. 1881 sold it to a group of American businessmen, including James Roosevelt, and it was developed into a summer resort colony. Cool. There you go. Lots of stories and legends about the Bay of Fundy. Yeah, I'll bet there is. Linda, is it Simons? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Simons, there are large, I'm sorry, it moves and I lose my place so quickly. There are pirate treasure legends in the Bay of Fundy, especially Isle Haut, maybe? Again, trying to get those pronunciations, which is reputed to have Ned Lowe's treasure. Interesting.
Okay. Jan make a metal play date with Gary.
I would love to, man. I would really love to do that. I mean, Gary would be. Wouldn't that guy? If you were able to just spend a day, let me go out there when he's down in Florida and he's doing his thing, just to be, go out there with him so he could teach me, about stuff. But he's got one of his metal detectors, not El Cheapo like mine back here. He's got his is very expensive and very nice. Believe in your dreams. Yep. No matter how impossible they may seem. You're right. Yep.
That's what the Lagunas are doing right now.
This is something I wanted to show you guys real quick too. I grabbed this picture here simply because this is the War Room meeting when they were talking to Jim McQuiston. And look at Rick's hair. This is when you know that they jump around so much with all this stuff. Look at Rick's hair. That was right after he got on the island after being in quarantine for 14 days when he got to the island and when he got into Canada. So that was taken what? When did they get on down in June? Was it June when they were finally able to
Yeah,
get out of
late May they
quarantine?
went out.
So look at his hair; it's all long. So that was how long that they held this. Here we are. Episode 19, and now this jumps up, and like I said, they didn't even tell Jim. He didn't know it was on, or that he was going to be on last night, and he's probably watching the show, and he's like, oh look, there I am, and he got.
And they're all short sleeves too.
Yeah, and he got some good air time, this time, usually if they get like 5 minutes or a couple minutes or whatever. But I happened to see this when they were in the war room. I was looking at his hair and I was like, uh, you know, my goodness, this goes back. They were quarantined in June and went on the island around the 4th of July. Thank you. So, I mean, this goes back to then. So that meeting with Jim had to take place way back then, and they saved it.
Short sleeve shirts too.
Yeah, exactly. So the middle of hot summer right there. So there you go. So I thought that was I caught that. I'm always, when I'm watching it, you guys heard me say this last week or before too, that I'm always watching the show looking for all these little tidbits of something that I can pull out of there. And this was just one of the things I noticed. We're almost 2 hours. I got to let you guys go. I could do this all night, but I know it gets a little long-winded there. And then I grabbed this picture here, and it was simply because I was curious. Now that I look at it again, I don't think it is, but I was looking at this big rock that's right behind Miriam here on the hill in this tree. Remember last week when Ian Spooner and Rick and Gary and I forget who all was up there, but they went up and they were metal detecting, and they were at that rock, and they found that rock that had the cut off ring bolt in it. That was on last week's show.
Yeah, they called Tom over, and they called Tom over too.
Yeah, and they called Tom over to see if Tom knew about it. And I was thinking maybe this was that same rock, but I think that rock was actually a little bigger than this one, maybe. But I saw this and I thought, man, they're right over there digging where that rock was already. And I grabbed this just thinking it was, but anyway, I could be completely off base with that. It might not be the rock at all, but I saw that and I wonder if that's that same rock. Could be right. I don't know. And what does it matter? It doesn't, but it just means that they're like in Nolan's backyard right now. They're going to be digging up, they're going to be over to the headstone. If they keep going, following this road along there, they could,
it is by a tree. That's where they were at last week by a tree.
Yeah, it was right next to a tree, that rock was, but it was almost right up against the tree. So I'm not so sure it is, but, anyway, yeah, I know you can almost, it's a Rick and his magic hair. Yeah. It's always changing throughout the season, when he gets it cut and then it's shorter and then it's longer again. But yeah, that picture was certainly July when they got on the island, right? It had to be right around July when they first got on the island. They were Jim would know for sure when he remembers when that interview took place. But anyway, just some little tidbit that I caught there. All right, folks, man, we're gonna wrap this up. That's all I had for pictures. And man, it was a very interesting show just because of all the stuff they covered, and Jim's section, portion of it as well. There's Jim popping in again here. Let's see what he. I was told that Prometheus doesn't send their final weekly episodes to the broadcast studio until 1 week before. They are editing that close down to the wire, and I suspect it has to do with keeping current with the finds they make. They all work very hard at this, and I'll come back on your show whenever you have an opening. I appreciate
thank
you very much, because what I'd like to do is wait until the end of the season, because we don't know. They might have you on again. You might be on next week. We don't even know yet. So let's wait till the end of the season, and then we'll bring you on and you can talk about more of what your findings are. But I'm looking forward to that. That
would be a great time to talk to them again.
Yeah, you betcha. I'd love to have you back on, Jim. Yeah, we'll do it. Let's work it out. We'll get you on when the season is wrapped up, and then you can talk about more stuff. Again, I was thinking, about last night. He's like, what could you have talked about had this already aired? We didn't even know it was coming on, but that's.
I know. See, my first thought was, oh boy, I hope he doesn't get himself in trouble because he talked to us Sunday night.
Yeah, hopefully he didn't say something.
Night, there he is.
Yeah, hopefully he didn't say something on Sunday that would get you in trouble on Wednesday or Tuesday night when the show comes out. Rick needs a chia pet. Yeah. Yeah, that is interesting, and they cut the shows. We heard that also. Somebody else was talking about that. One of the other folks on the show was talking about the fact that they cut it right down to the wire. I mean, that's
Robert
why.
Clotworthy, I believe, wasn't it? I probably
Yeah,
remember
yeah, it was.
correctly.
Yes, it was. You're right. It was Robert Clotworthy had said that too. Um, how they don't, and they'll send him scripts for a show like the show, not next week's show probably, but the show after that. He'll just be getting a script and be doing his voiceovers and narration for it right now. He's probably in the studio cutting that stuff. Today he's probably working on a show from 2 weeks from now. So anyway, interesting that they wait. You would think that they would have him in the can weeks in advance, months in advance, but they do not. So wow, so a lot of stuff they covered on tonight, and then next week we're looking at one of the interesting things I saw in the preview for next week was one of the oxen shoes that they found that I believe Carmen said that it was a Scottish. I caught that Scottish ox shoe. Now,
And everything's been English before.
Yeah. So how in the heck, I mean, how he knows that, but there's a man with another talents that we'll, he's got some talents knowing this stuff, but he talked about, and that was a Scottish ox shoe. Now, how in the world does a Scottish ox shoe get to Oak Island? Interesting, huh? All right.
I
Well,
say Templar, but then again, I'm biased.
All right, folks. Hey, thank you again so much for being here tonight with you. I love the chat and all the stuff that's going on. And Jim, thank you again for jumping in and helping us out here tonight. Really, really appreciate that so very much. If it's not Scottish, it's crap. Yeah. I know. I don't remember where that's from, but was that from Simpsons or something? I don't know. If it's not Scottish, it's crap. I just love that. But anyway, you guys, thank you so much for being here. And again, if you would, just a kind
Jeff, remember about next Thursday, please.
Yes. Thank you. But I was going to say too about joining us on the if you don't mind, if you're on the YouTube side over there, if you'd give us a just subscribe. It doesn't cost anything, but it really does help us out, and we could use all the help we could get, quite honestly. So we appreciate that very much. And also, next Thursday, like I said again, I'll repeat it here for those of you that you got to hear it again. That I don't have an interview going on this weekend. This weekend I'll be out of town. And then our show next week is going to be on this recap show will be on Thursday night, not on Wednesday, because I'll have a long day of driving back from Michigan. So I will be to beat. And anyway, I wouldn't have watched the show because we don't have cable up there where I'm going. So I wouldn't have watched the show anyway. So I'm going to watch it on Wednesday night, get all my stuff together for the show. We'll do the show on Thursday night at 7:30. And we'll see you guys there then. And I appreciate you all again for being here. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you
for being here and your input. Thank you, Jan and Linda for all the work you do out there.
All the people that came in with the chat tonight.
Oh, I know. I just love it. I really do. We had a lot of people here tonight, and it was really great. So thank you all so much. And buy my hats. Yes, I'm going to be looking for more. I've got like 3 different UP hats now. So I'm going to be looking for another one while I'm up there. So, hey, again, thank you guys all so much. You guys have a great rest of your week and weekend, and I will see you guys next week. All right. Have a good evening.